Today, Rinpoche continued his explanation of Chandrakirti's entrance to the middle way, emphasizing that things do not arise from self, other, a collection of both, or causelessly. Okay, so decent. The jikten, the tanda, the injike, the dante, the denden, the shiloka, the tanda, the shime, then chiran, the loma, then the kabure,
the Jiden jinen juro. Kashi jiden sabun santo ne dag pandi ji panjina xian zuzu nya du de na. Yen le jawa jiden le jamas. Ta kan de da le jawa yen le jawa ni ga le jawa jume le jawa jirwa. Oma zawa shir da le ma yen le me ni le ma jume me mo bu kan da kan na ya jawa na yo ma is was Dalai Diji Kangalo Dalai Jawa Mare, Jene Jawa Mare, Dalai Jawa Rang Dani Jibi Jule Jawa Mare, Jene Jawa Rang Tsenyi Tubi, Ju Jene Rang Tsenyi Tubi Debi Jene Jawa Mare, Nyekali Jawa, that Dalai Jawa, Jene Jawa, Nyekali Jawa. Then Jene Jawa, Jiten Le Jame, Kashi Jiten Saban Zanzan, Dag Bandi Chishimashina. The
datayin, ngay rasam, ngay tsampo rasam, damayan shemayan, then this shemayan. So when we look at the presentation of the nature of reality according to Nagarjuna and the other practitioners of the Middle Way Consequence School, or holders of the Middle Way Consequence school's view, assert that things are not truly established because they are found to be truly established arising from self, not to be found truly established arising from other, not to be found truly established arising from a combination of both, and not to be found truly established because they are causeless. So this one kind of stanza negates all of the possibilities within all the possible alternative views of lack of inherent existence. So could it have inherent existence because it made itself somehow, or could it have inherent existence because something else made it have that? Or could it have inherent existence because itself made it have that and something else made it, so that made it have some inherent status that's findable? Or is there nothing there? And none of those are found to be accurate. So what is the correct view? If none of those things prove to find solidity, you have to say, if you can't state there's nothing there, then there has to be something there that's being perceived incorrectly. And that's when you arrive at the existence without being truly established. So we find that, I'm going to just kind of read up to it. I know where we are at Rinpoche is. We're actually where we are exactly where we're supposed to be from last time. But we're going to be right in the 30s. The 33 area is where we're going to end up to. Stanza 33 within chapter 6. Okay, so all objects may be seen in truth or in delusion. They thus possess a twin identity. The Buddha said that ultimate is what is seen correctly. Wrongly seen is all concealing truth. Deluded vision has, it's said, a double face according to the organ's good or impaired functioning. Perceptions that derive from faulty faculties compared to that with the healthy senses know are held to be mistaken, and everything the six undamaged senses grasp within the ordinary experience of the world is held as true. According to the world, the rest according to the world is false. The self, as it is imagined by the Tirthikas, enveloped as they are in ignorance of sleep, and mirages and tricks of sight are all construed as real, though they have no reality in ordinary experience. Whatever is perceived with dim, defective sight has no validity compared with what is seen by healthy eyes. Just so, a mind deprived of spotless wisdom has no power to contradict a pure, untainted mind. The power of phenomena enshrouded by our ignorance is all concealed, but what this ignorance contrives appears as true, and so the Buddha spoke of all concealing truth, and thus contrived phenomena as all concealing. Thus who suffer from an eye disease will falsely think they see black lines and other things, but healthy eyes will see what is the case. Suchness, we should understand, is similar to this. If ordinary perception yielded true and valid knowledge, suchness would be seen by common folk. What need for Aryas then? What need for noble paths? It's wrong to take the foolish mind as validly cognizing. In every aspect, ordinary experience has no validity. The ultimate, therefore, is not thereby refuted. Empirical phenomenon consensus will approve, and all denial of them consensus will negate. And so, a man who has merely left his seed will say, "This is the child I fathered." Likewise, people think, "This tree is what I planted." Thus, common practice too denies extraneous production. Because the shoot's not other than the seed. When the shoots arise, the seeds are not destroyed. Because the shoot and the seed are not identical, one cannot say when the shoot is there, the seed exists as well. So here, this is beginning to negate the idea that things arise from self. The enumerators of the Samkhya school, many of the yoga traditions in ancient India held that things arose from themselves, that they had within them the result already, and that the cause was loaded with the result. So this is negating that idea, this idea that somehow something can inherently exist by arising from itself. And it's showing how there are two things that are there, not one thing. But when you look at seed and sprout, you see a cause and effect that's taking place, an interdependence and an order that it's going in. So anyway, that's what it's beginning to breach, this idea that things are not arisen from self. The damayin, the tanda, the sopun, the sopun, nyuku dan sopun, the dan chempa kagadu, yomaribe.
Yeah.
The ganshir, the jikten ponsum, dane.
Conshin jiten sabe zonto ne.
That's low. Periklo. The yabudu. Ganshir jikten.
Conshin jiten sabe zonto ne. Daga bandi jeshi majima. Shen tu sunyo tu de no. Shen le jo jiten le jamba. Right.
Yabudu. Nene, the low than the del. Maraso, the low.
Kaza.
The ganshir jikten then the shiluka kashe lorona.
Conshin jiten sabe ganshir raji jete mangaba. Teshi kunji mejang de nushiris. Lala lenga yoni le jang. Reba yangdan yunga reba jes. Lenga na jun reba longba yina reba di yunga res. Shiba, leji shiba len reba je yunga res. Oda sonda marwa. Reba yangdan yunga reba jes. Le denga na yun reba lenba yina ya reba yunga res. Le shiba le ane dreba che yung res.
So no matter what, if a seed is planted within the continuum, then that will necessarily give rise to a result. So if in a previous existence, I'm just trying to see how it connects to this. So when we look at the production of previous lives, the production of future lives, we see that the production of future lives comes from the seeds that we planted within our continuum in previous lives. And those seeds come to fruition when there are causes and conditions that allow for their concordant experience to arise. So I'm just trying to see where this connects to it. We're in the right place. I'm just trying to see how this connects to it. Make sure I'm not missing something. Give me 1 second. Should be fine. Yeah, we're good. Okay, okay, so I just think Rinpoche is making a point related to the seeds being planted in our previous lives are what give rise to our experience. And these seeds that give rise are dependent. So if we look at how our experience happens, we can't say that our experience itself inherently exists, and we can't say that the seeds inherently exist, because those all came into being through a collection as well. Okay, Disa Rinpoche.
Lelen drebo yoba yin, yongwa yin, chitara yu ne, yunyi mudong jang, rari jen she, chashi namba ne, tong yungwa yin nambar, ma yin tar, tijin mi le, layang, mi shi che, ti shir, nami, Mage nabile, nami geni gile, intonshin, gimi lojin tajute, lende nala semban kabanzes, kunyu yojin kanza nyeyo la, pomododa ambaji nyeyo che.
Okay, we're good.
Tenbandene, tezera chedo dun, riba mjoro
Less so. Okay, let me read up to exactly. I see what is happening now. This is like the most difficult chapter that was written about anything. So it's when looking at the Tibetan, it's not like reading a Tibetan text where it's laid out. It's all very encoded and all of the words are very shortened. So that's why it took all that time for two people with PhDs to even find where you are, because it doesn't just read normally. So that's why when I'm translating, I'm writing literally like the page number into my book, which stanza it's at, starring and everything, because it's sitting into the seat and not being as the level of scholastic aptitude. Just realize that if this text reads a little bit difficult in English, that it is very encoded, and there was a lot of rounding of the edges made when they translated it, so that it kind of made more sense than it does in the Tibetan. It reads more like Just, this isn't that because the I isn't existent for this, it isn't as clearly laid out the way that it's translated. So just realize that if it seems too easy, it really isn't. And that the Tibetan root text is like trying to look at a jigsaw puzzle and try to put it together. So you'll see where we were. Didn't read up far enough, stanza-wise, for it to make sense, because I was stuck on this seeds in the shoot, and that's all. If things depended truly on specific attributes, denial of these same attributes would mean things are discounted. Emptiness could cause phenomena to disappear, but this does not make sense, which shows that things lack real existence. Thus, if such phenomena are analyzed apart from suchness as their nature, nothing else is found, and so the truth of everyday convention should not be subjected to analysis. In absolute analysis, no reasoning admits production from another or from self, and reasoning cannot uphold up even as conventional. What comes then of your theory of production? Empty things, reflections, and the like, dependent on conditions, are not perceptible, and just as empty forms reflected in a glass create a consciousness in aspect similar, so too all things, though empty, strongly manifest within their very emptiness. And since inherent existence is in neither truth, phenomena are neither nothing nor unchanging entities. Since actions are without inherent true cessation, even though there is no universal ground, they produce effects. Indeed, some acts may be completed long ago, but you know that they will bear their fruit. A fool waking from his dream remains attached to things he dreamed about. In such a way, from finished acts there are without reality, resultant fruits will also manifest. So these actions, the seeds that we plant within our continuum, have no true establishment, nor do their results that they produce, but they do produce conventionally a result, and conventionally there are seeds that are planted. But they are not truly established because they are merely seeds that required a collection to come together, and then in order for the manifestation of them to occur, it requires a collection of causes and conditions and so forth. So there isn't an experience that is truly established or a cause of that experience that is truly established. But the experience that we have are driven by something. So what are the experiences that we perceive conventionally driven by? They are driven by our previous actions. And then it says, while non-existent objects are equal in their unreality, black lines are only seen by those who suffer from an eye disease, while other non-existent things will not appear to such as while other non-existing things will not appear to such an invalid, it's thus that we should understand that ripened acts do not again bear fruit. While evil acts are seen to be the source of baneful fruits, and good results are seen to come from virtuous deeds, the wise for whom there is no good or ill are free, and we are warned against investigation of the karmic process. So here it's saying that even though these things are not truly established, they produce a not truly established conventional experience. So these seeds, once they produce their experience, no longer have the potential to produce fruit. And those negative seeds that we plant produce a negative experience. And the positive seeds that we plant produce a positive experience. And these things are not permanent because the experience isn't permanent. And these things are not truly established because they merely come and go like other collections. They arise, and then when the power of the potency of the dependent origination of that experience is no longer there, then it disintegrates and an arisal of another dependent arising happens. That's it. So it says we warned against investigation of the karmic process because if one doesn't do that properly, one can say there's no existent virtue, there's no existent non-virtue, and that is not correct. Non-virtue and virtue exist, they are just not truly established, but they do produce concordant results conventionally. So cyclic existence is experience the conventional experience that we feel, taste, touch, and see is all created by these seeds that are not truly established. So they work is the point. They work conventionally and they do produce experience, and the experience is real. It just isn't ultimately real the way we think it is. It's there, it just isn't the way we think it is there. Dixon Rinpoche. The Ganshir Den the Nutse Ponyu Jeju Meja the Gelde Rangi Tseni Denjor Na. Gelde Rangi Tseni Denjor Na de la. It's so hard when we don't have the same book. Gelde. Yeah, Rinpoche. Gelde. Gede.
Rangi Tseni Denjor Na. Gede Rangi Tseni Denjor Na.
Gede Rangi.
Gede Rangi Tseni Denjor Na.
Yeah, if he can't find it, I'm doomed. Gelde. Yeah, this Dixon Geshe Rinpoche. The Dixon. The Inchike, the Data Rason, then the Pecheche Dixon.
Okay.
They know exactly where we are, so I'm fine now. I don't need the book. Dixon Rinpoche. The Gete.
Gete Rangi Tseni Denjor Na.
Dixon.
Tela Kuyo Ngoben Jibi Shir.
Des.
Donyo Ngoben Jibi Junjo Na. Tene Remi Ti Shir Ngoyo Mi. Kanshing Ngoben Dada Na Je Na. Teni Da Je Ngoy Le Tsuru Do. Nenye Mayi Jiden Ti Shir Jiden Je. Tanye Dang La Naba Je Me Jas. Tanye Dang La No Chu Chu Nyat Shu Ne.
Okay, Tuche. Nene?
Gede Rangi Tseni Denjor Na. Tela Kuyo Ngoben Jibi Shir.
Tuche.
Donyo Ngoben Jibi Junjo Na. Tene Remi Ti Shir Ngoyo Mis. Gede Rangi Tseni Jubi Jula Tene Juwa Ina. Tela Kuyo Ngoben Jibi Shir. Donyo Ngoben Jibi Junjo Na. Tene Remi Ti Shir Ngoyo Rangi Tseni Jubi Jiwa Yo Ma Res. Jiyo Ngoben Yo Ma Res. Kanshi Ngoben Dada Na Je Na. Tene Dani Tsu Le. Ngoy Le Tsuru Do. Nenye Mayi Jiden Je. Tanye Den La Naba Je Me Ja. Kunzul Tene Jeba She Juyo Ma Res. Jeba She Na La Nu Goro Ta. Tanye Den La Naba Je Me Ja. Tanye Den Se Kunzul Denpa. Dodo Denpa Nyingi Na. Kunzul Denpa La Jeba She Juyo Ma Res. Jeba She Na Ku Ngon La Nu Res.
Less so.
Tadyon Se Nyega Ma Res. Tene Kausu Riba. Kanshi Ki. Dadan Jele Jewa. Dadan Jewa Rimi La. Ridi Tanye Doyan. Rimi Be. Chuji Jewa Kanki Imba Joro. Mabu Tumba Zunye La Suwa. Tula Tuyne Mada Bayame. Mada Bayame. Ten Chidar Tene. Zunye Suzon Le. Shibati Naba Jenju Tar. Tijin Mabu Tanji Donaya. Doni Taler. Mabu Tanji Rangi Tseni Jubi Donaya. Rangi Tseni Jubi Jule. Rangi Tseni Jubi Debaja Tures. Jewan Joro.
Less so.
Deba Ni Song Raji. Mebi Shir. Kudu Deba Dondo Deba Kanyi Ina. Raji Juba Yo Mares.
Less so.
Deba Maru Chap. What the song is that?
Less so. that the universal ground, that persons do exist, that skandhas only are existent things, all these are teaching given for those who cannot understand the deepest meaning. The Buddha, free of thinking that the aggregates composed of a self, did yet say I, and spoke of these my teachings in such a way that things are certainly without inherent being. He taught expediently and said that they exist. Finding no perceiving subject and no thing perceived, and understanding that the triple world is merely consciousness, the Bodhisattvas, you affirm, abide in wisdom, knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality. So here, once again, it's speaking that the arisal of these things, the arisal of experience occurs. There are two, when we look at the nature of reality, there is conventional truth and ultimate truth. And ultimately, things dependently originate and therefore are empty, but conventionally they exist and function and exist and function. So experiences exist. So and the experiencer exists, but the consciousness itself is what is labeling everything, and the senses are what is what are misapprehending them, and relating to them in a concealed way. So the concealing truth is what is perceived by ordinary perception. It says back here, if ordinary perception yielded true and valid knowledge, suchness would be seen by common folk. So the ordinary perception in general is shrouded by ignorance, and normally the conventional truth is the only thing that's apprehended. So here it's, let's see here. Empty things, the reflections and the like, dependent on conditions, are not perceivable, and just as empty forms reflected in a glass create consciousness in aspects similar, so too all things, though empty, strongly manifest within their emptiness, and since inherent is in neither truth, phenomena are neither nothing nor unchanging entities. So here it's saying that that neither of the truths are truly existent. So even emptiness is empty. But even though all of these things are the case and that all phenomena are empty, they still manifest as experience, just as you would see a reflection in a glass. Decent.
Kunji se karas jago jusen karas na gome ge lesa sa du lege nyoba de jasa jugo gores lege nyoba jasa de ane sanzan ba to ge kunji jago gores kunji na shi shin du den ba ju wo de den le gome ge lege ba sa de jago gores
Leso.
den de la den ne ane de wa de ge de ba gores
Leso.
What the son mara?
So the various tenet systems have differing views on how our experiences come into being. So, for instance, the mind-only school, which is the lower of the Mahayana schools, it's right below the middle way school, asserts that there's an extra consciousness. It's called Storehouse Consciousness. That is where all of these seeds stay. And this Storehouse Consciousness is like a projector that projects out all of this reality or experience, if you will. And what's projecting it are the karmic seeds projecting concordant experience. So whatever, according to the mind-only school. This is, by the way, this view is not the correct view. This is negated by the higher school, but it's actually a very important starting point to understand how emptiness works. The mind-only school believes there's this storehouse consciousness. We engage in actions, and then they plant these seeds in this thing that becomes like a projector, projects out an experience of some sort, and then we're reacting within that and creating more seeds that then are put into this storehouse consciousness, and then later project other things. So they say it's like waves going in and out. You're projecting and then collecting, and projecting and then collecting, if you will. Projecting out an experience and then collecting more it was collecting more karma, but I was just trying to collecting more ingredients for the future experiences that it will project. So they would state that all of these things are creations of the mind. So we see in here, it actually just mentioned that the finding no perceiving object, subject, and no thing perceived, and understanding that the triple world is merely consciousness. The Bodhisattvas, you affirm, abide in wisdom, knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality. So that's the mind-only school has this storehouse consciousness that they believe is projecting out these experiences. Then the samsampa, the gunji, the dundan demba. Gunzu demba. The dundan demba gare samsampa. Samsampa dundan demba gare kelen.
Dundan demba ta toni da.
Doni.
Toni dundan demba la dro. Shiru dundan maruba.
Okay. Less so. Then that's more chishina tearing the that's loud on the toni. Going to the maid sarpa chi yure.
Yeah.
The chishina the
Gunji.
The decent. The more low decent. The chira cover lesson. Lesser.
Then you Ngole Surudo, Nene Mai, Jidenje, Nene Mai, Jidenje, Tanya del Nobachemajas, Guru Dembal Jebashe Mares, Guru Dembal Jebashan Ola Res, Tish Kosu Riba Jen, Riba Kanjiki, Dada Jenle, Jawa Rimiba, Zidi Tanya Doyan, Zimebe. Dalai Jawa Jawa de Tanya Duen Yomares Choji Jawa Kanyi Kanki Imba Joro Ngobu Tumba Zonye La Suba Sula Tune Madaba Yami Chitara Tene Zonye Sudun Le Shibati Namba Chenju Tara Toni Tale Road Chevanjurus, Deva Maru, Deva Tomba in a Tombi, and the Julian de Vichos, Tonayan, Toni Tale Road Chevanjurus, Rangatini to be Tombi, Julie, Rangatini to be Tombi, de Vichos, Chevanjuro. Deva Niso, Raji, maybe Raji, maybe sure. Tada Taba Mai Chimi Cheba me Kashitini Kashiraji Che de Mangaba Teja Kunji mentioned the Nusher Lala Lenga Lalajan Debe Yanda Junga Ribachis Kunji Meba Ina and Debeja Tugres Le Shiba Le Debeja Yungres Lala Lenga Yodin Lalajan Debe Yanda Junga Ribachis Mela maybe Yuda Tonene Sejan Lula Chabachin Jutra the Yin Gashin Rajin Yumiba Lele Jan and Devo Yubayis Lele Jan Deva Madubi Lele deba marubin deba chitugres.
That's so. Dene?
Chita yuni masung chang rari chen chi tashi namba ne toyu ngo nam namba mayi tar tijin mele lami penshi che tishi nami mege nabi le nami gini gele yin tongshin gimi lojen tanjo de lende nala senpa gaban zes. Kunji yue chi kanza nye la pompo dada baji yue ni je tenpa dada tata chezo tun zeba mayi kanyin tala wo. Jisu tatang chayang sanji je cheta nga tang ayi tenpa tara tijin nguwa na raji me jang we je zangzo nyi tu tenpa yin zonwa me ba zeba ma tong shin si zon na shi tang tu rado ba shi la ne shang shu senpa de na shi tang tu teni tu pa joro cheta long ki kuyu jaso ne chuli chula jungwa tejin tu kunji sabun kunji sheja le rangi nyeba nashi zangshin jung deshe jen je angi ngon gang ngobu taba cheta yuan ju shin shiru zungwa meba zhong jo la yue dang zhu gun yu mi rangin yu shiru me sen pen kang tu mana jijin shen na tesang sha.
Okay.
Ma pukari yu zin mana jagaris tel san tang is tesang sha.
That's so. Dene de yabudu de ka.
Okay.
Dene de tetsku Rinpoche. The shugu garre nga the tree. Gangisin the data. The shu kabar lesson Rinpoche. Cherang kabar lesson. Kabar. Not sure. Okay, 86. If we ever have this volume come out again, I want to know where it is in relation to the where it is. Okay, so Rinpoche read some of the stuff that we went over again and gave a little bit more commentary on it, and then read up a couple more stanzas forward. So let me read that where we were. So he went back to since actions 39. Since actions are without inherent true cessation, even though there is no universal ground, they can produce effects. Indeed, some acts may be completed long ago, but you should know that they will bear their fruit. So we find in the sutra teaching where the Buddha stated that no matter what, if an action has been engaged in, if that action hasn't borne any fruit, then that action is still present within the continuum and ready to ripen into some sort of experience. So no matter how many eons have passed, if that karma has not been purified, it's waiting to produce an experience. And that experience will not be truly established, but that experience conventionally will be real, will exist. So it just will not exist the way that it's apprehended by an ignorant mind. That's all. So it's just the way that things exist that is being disputed here, not their existence. So it's just their way or their mode of being that we cling to as being certain when they're merely collections. So that is the point. But those collections do bear fruit. It says, but you should know that they will bear their fruit. So those actions that we produced, even though they are empty, they still bear their fruit. They still bear an empty fruit, a not truly established experience of suffering. A positive, and then it goes on, so Rinpoche went on when it got to there. A fool when waking from his dream remains attached to the things he dreamed about. In such a way, from finished acts that are without reality, resultant fruit will also manifest. While non-existent objects are all equal in their unreality, black lines are only seen by those who suffer from an eye disease, while other non-existent things will not appear to such an, is invalid? To such an invalid or invalid? Invalid. It's thus that we should understand that ripened acts do not again bear fruit. So once a karmic seed, again, has reached its potential and no longer has potency, then it's extinguished and it no longer produces result again. So a conventionally existent seed that produces a conventionally existent experience does cease to have the potency to produce that experience. While evil acts are seen to be the source of baneful fruits and good results are seen to come from virtuous deeds, the wise for whom there is no good or ill are free, and we are warned against investigation of the karmic process, that the universal ground, that persons do exist, that skandhas are only are existent things. All these are teachings given for those who cannot understand the deepest meaning. So the Buddha did teach at some times that there was a self. When people weren't ready to understand the deeper meaning because he feared they would fall to nihilism and feared that they would fall to the idea that things don't exist, which is completely incorrect. They do exist. He at times stated there was a self. The Buddha, even in the Vaibhashika school, I think there's 5. The Rinpoche, the Duta Mawa Je, the Tambo, the Juje, the Nga, the Da Yuba Yurbe, then a Duta Mawa Je, then a Tambo, the Ming Ni Jason, the Shedamawa, the Shedamawa, the Da Drupa Nga Yure, the Juje Yure, then a Nga, the Dala Drupa, then a Shedamawa Drupa Juje, the Nga Dala Drupa, Ni Sampa Nga. Ale. So there are, when we look at the Great Exposition School, there are the 4 tenet systems: the Great Exposition School, the Sutra School, the Mind-Only School, and the Middle Way School. And that first Great Exposition School has 18 sub-schools. And a few of, I don't want to say the number incorrectly, I think it's 5, but a few of those schools actually assert a true self. So the Buddha actually taught true self at the lowest level within the tenet systems for those who weren't ready to learn about emptiness. So you see that where it says here that persons do exist, the skandhas are only existent things, that is actually something that was taught by the Buddha for those who didn't feel could grasp the deeper meaning. The Buddha, free of thinking that the aggregates composed a self, did yet say I and spoke of these my teachings in such a way, though things are certainly without inherent being, he taught expediently and said that they exist. So the Buddha taught, there was a teacher, there was a teaching, there were students, there was an event. The Buddha's not negating that because he said, I taught this, I said this. These are my teachings. So in a conventional existence, the Buddha stated that there was an I conventionally, and there was a Buddha teaching conventionally. Finding no perceiving subject and no thing perceived, and understanding that the triple world is merely consciousness, the Bodhisattvas, you affirm, abide in wisdom, knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality. Just as from the mighty sea, you say, the waves appear, called forth by blowing winds, likewise from the seat of all, the universal ground, mere consciousness arises through its own potential. And thus, dependent nature, other-powered, is cause of things that are but imputations. This nature is what manifests. There are no things outside the mind. This does not this does indeed exist, but lies beyond the sphere of intellect. But what example can you give of mind without an outer world? It's like a dream, you say, but this we must examine. So now the trick is happening, by the way. You've been looped into the mind-only school view a little bit, and now Lama Tsongkhapa is going to rip it apart. And, so you're starting to say everything's from the mind, and it's all a manifestation of this, and that is the view, but it's manifesting as a name that's being nominally, it's not manifesting as the projector, it's projecting a name. There is an external object there that has a collection of parts, and there's a collection of parts over here that is apprehending that object. So that's the difference between what the mind-only school is saying and then the middle way school is saying. The mind-only school is merely saying that projection is what's happening, and the middle way school is saying the mind's creating this, but there is an external object that it's naming. So the mind's naming it, and it sees a suitable basis of designation and then names it. So the mind is creating it in that sense, but not anything beyond that. It's not projecting it because there is an external object. So you'll see this undoing is going to start to happen here. But what example can you give of mind without an outer world? So here it's starting to show that there's a dual, there is something out there that isn't just the mind. It's like a dream, you say, but this we must examine. I hold that even when I dream, my mind does not exist. The example that you give has therefore no validity. But when you awake, you say, we can recall our dreams. This shows the mind exists. But then it follows that the objects of our dreams exist likewise. For just as you remember that you dreamed, you can also remember what you dreamed about. Okay, so Rinpoche, we're going to end there. Then, anybody have any questions? Maybe we all have questions about this, obviously. Sorry it was a little rough around the edges. Really is just, I don't know how I didn't get this book here today. It's very strange to me. Wondering where it is. But when we switched over to the Precious Garland, I moved all texts around, so that's probably when it happened. Yes?
Thank you so much for teaching. So, stanza 45?
Yes.
Just to clarify the 4 seconds.
Yeah, let's yep.
This is obvious to everyone. I mean, that the mind, finding no perceiving subject and no thing perceived, and understanding that the triple world is merely consciousness, the Bodhisattvas you affirm abide in wisdom, knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality.
Yeah, that's the incorrect. That's an incorrect point that's being made.
Right. I'm just clarifying that
Yeah.
this is nothing to do with this mind only school, because this is about someone, the Bodhisattvas who abide in wisdom.
Rinpoche is talking about the mind-only school, so.
In 45.
That's what
Knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality. That's the truth, though, because that's a Mahayana view. That's a Bodhisattva view.
What?
Bodhisattva has realized emptiness.
The mind alone is ultimate reality is incorrect.
So why?
Because there's this whole text is refuting all the different tenet systems that are available. So the text is going through all of this different points of the different tenets that are available and then negating them. That's when you get up to stanza 48, how you see that it negates that idea. The Rinpoche, the konde the shiloka jipju jenga, the ngatsu ratuna, the kontriwa shiloka jipju jenga, then it's on page 45.
It just says the
in the old volume.
Know that
I understand,
the
but
mind
you
alone
have
is
to look at
ultimate
the.
reality.
You're looking at the English. We need to look at the direct text, and what the intent of it was.
Because that's mind only is self. There's a self.
The mind only is self. What do you mean?
There's a self in mind only. School.
Yeah, I don't understand. All the tenets below the consequence school have self, and that's what is being negated here. All the tenets that
So I think we're saying the same thing.
are not the consequence school. Here, let me see if I can find it. Share up loud. The Rinpoche, then the Uma Jupa, then the Sam Dundan Demba Kelen. Then the Kelen Gamare, the Kaba, Yomarebe, San Dundan Demba. Then the Lupidawa, Yomarebe, the San Dundan Demba, San Sampa. Then a Gari Kelen Rinpoche. So the mind is not ultimate truth, Rinpoche is saying, it's conventional truth. Then
Okay.
hold on, I'm going to try and find it in here.
Rinpoche always tells us to focus on conventional truth and ultimate truth.
Sherap la ne shanchu samba ne nam
And I thought conventional truth was within ultimate reality.
It's two sides of a coin. Gunji pungur. I just gotta find it. Ledre nam la. Okay, ledre nam la. Gunji. Okay, so that's the ground. Gunji is the ground. Jiso. Okay, Buddhist said Jiso Dao. Okay. Zon wa me par zimba. See, so there. I got it. Zong.
Si son naje tanto, radu ne. Seba son chisi pasi, ngonjo sipa. Wate naje tanto, dobe ta tanto, radu be. Shero la ne, shanchu semba te, naje tanto tenye toba njoro. Cheta long kuyu jato ne, chule jungwa teji to, kunji sabi kunji shejale, rangi nyebi nashi zang shinjung.
Then the Dondagare, the Shiloka, the Shanchu Semba, the Dondagare, the Sam Dundan Demba, Yomarebe, the NGK, the Shanchu Semba, the Sherab Degadu, then this Sherab Nga Sam Demba Drupa, the Ngay Sam Dundan Demba. NGK the.
Teji tangde nyi to tenpa yin, zungwa meba zeba mato shin, zungwa demba drupa meba, zeba sheba demba mato yo mares, demba drupa yo mares,
Less so.
zeba mato shin. Si sun nashi tanto, ratu be,
Then
chisi pasi ngondu sipa.
Then the Sipa Sum, the Sipa Sum, the Sheba Kona.
Chisi pasi ngondu sipa, sondro, te ngalo, deme du yin jiro. Chisi che, pasi che, ngondu sipa, son deme du, zoshi deme du son non deme du yin.
Hine the Ewa Dansini the Kali Kabudu, the Dunda Gare Rinpoche, the NGK, the Shanchu Semba Sherab Degudu, Den Sunsang, Konso Ha Kogdu, the Sem Kona Dundan Demba Yin.
Shanchu semba te, se son nashi zang toba njoro. Shanchu semba zuke seba son te, tobe ta zang te yinba toba njore. Cheta longi kuyu jaso ne chele chola njoma.
Yeah, they Yomare, the Shanchu Semba, the Dundan Demba Gare. Shanchu Semba, the Dundan Demba Gechishe, Dundan.
My question is, Jeff, the Bodhisattva in the Heart Sutra says the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of prajnaparamita.
That's an
So-
emptiness. They abide
Right,
in
the
the ultimate
Bodhisattvas-
truth of reality, the direct perception of phenomena.
Which is wisdom.
Correct.
The Bodhisattvas you affirm, in 45, the Bodhisattvas you affirm abide in wisdom, comma, knowing that the mind alone is ultimate reality, which includes conventional reality.
Yeah, the mind itself alone isn't ultimate reality, though. There's some translation problem here,
Okay.
or
Thank you.
the Rinpoche, the Shanchu Semba, then the Donda Garure. I just need,
Shanchu Semba de
what page?
Nashi Tanto, Teni Toba Juro.
The Donda Garure, the some Shetsan, the Sam Sheba, the Ngatsu, the Kanga Zugdo.
Shiro la ne, Shanchu Semba, Shiro Jula Yobi Shanchu Semba de Suro, Semba de Nashi Tanto, Teni Toba Juros, Nashi Tanto, and Chutanji Tobi Tazanto, Teni Toba Juros, Tobi Tazanto.
Okay, so when it says this, abiding in wisdom is abiding in ultimate truth, the idea that things do lack true establishment. And it should say that the sem kuna, the sheba, and it is the mind that realizes this ultimate reality, or something to this effect. It's that the Bodhisattva's mind are dwelling in the ultimate reality. And what is that ultimate reality? Why is the triple world is merely consciousness here means that that things are merely designated by the consciousness as being this or that. So when it says merely consciousness, it's saying they're merely designations by the consciousness. And then it says that the mind is what observes that ultimate reality. So the mind is what is dwelling in that ultimate reality. Now, the negation of the mind-only school is that they misinterpret this stanza, and they misinterpret it by stating that everything is merely a projection. So that's why when we get to the next couple stanzas later, it starts to negate this idea that there is no outside experience happening that the mind-only school asserts. So what it's saying here is that the Bodhisattvas abide in wisdom. What is that wisdom? The same wisdom that you pointed out in the Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. What is that? That's that all phenomena are not truly established. So the conventional truth is just the object itself that is a non-misperceived object by, like a book. This is a book. And so that's the conventional truth of this. The ultimate truth is that this book is not truly established. It's a collection of parts that come together that I merely name as book. That me naming it as book is what the triple world is merely consciousness. It's the consciousness itself, the mind itself, that is apprehending what the ultimate reality. So that's what this means in here. I don't know how it could be translated better, or like I said, why I have a hard time finding anything in this book is it's completely encoded. It's not written in a way that makes any sense. It's written, it would say that no findable subject, no thing, the triple world, consciousness, bodhisattvas abiding in wisdom, the mind's ultimate reality. I mean, that's how it reads in the Tibetan. And then they try to make it make more sense, which then makes it more confusing. Yeah. So what this is trying to say here is that there is no perceiving subject and no thing perceived. So there is no person that is ultimately existent perceiving the world that is not truly existent. There is no truly existent person. There is no truly existent world. It is merely a nominal designation, a creation of the mind, putting together these parts that it sees and then naming them as this or that. But there is no this or that that's separate from that nominal designation. So the triple world being merely consciousness is just that all of the names that we're putting on everything are done by our mind. We're naming all of these things. And then we're not only naming them, we're putting details. This is a good book. This is a bad book. This is a dirty car. This is a clean car. Compared to what? Compared to a dirtier car? Or etc. So it's clean compared to a dirtier car, or it's dirty compared to a cleaner car. So everything is perspective, and it's just merely labeled by the designator. It doesn't have any inherent this or that within it that's loaded there. It's just a collection of parts that are being interpreted and named. We would all agree on the names, and that's how we would say that we've come at valid cognition. If we all look at a mountain that's white, the person with jaundice would say it's yellow. They're not right. It's not yellow. It is white conventionally, but ultimately it's just a collection of parts that come together that are suitable to be named as a white mountain, because a non-defective eye consciousness would see it as a white snow mountain conventionally. But a defective one would see it as yellow. So that would be not correct conventionally or ultimately. So the name of the game is finding what the object of negation is. You establish a conventional object, and then you tear it apart and figure out its emptiness. And that's what it's saying the Bodhisattvas abide in, that tearing apart of every object and seeing its emptiness. So sometimes it's better just to not use a root text and just translate it looser, I find. Everyone wouldn't have something in front of them, but I've been to both types of teachings, and Art Engel, I find, does that. He just does it live, and it seems like a lot of, maybe you don't have the exact text in front of you, but the pith, the real intention, is really dug out of it. So it's always a task. And my reading skills could be a lot more awesome too, but yeah. All right, so we have no more questions, do we? Concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. And make sure that we have all the stuff we need. I have it. And I don't know where Rinpoche's new book is, so we'll have to figure that out. And, yeah. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. All this virtue I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Yatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who explains extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rinpoche, Gusi Shapi Denanang.